Hi, welcome to Write More Light. This is a special Saturday edition um, because I was feeling inspired this morning. I've never recorded live to YouTube before. I've never recorded sitting where I am before. It's very cold. I'm under the weather. But I had a realization this morning. Lots of things were coming together for me over and over again. I kept hearing the same messages in the writing world. I want to shout out Misty Urban, who is a Midwest Writing Center member and wonderful, wonderful writer and teacher. And I want to shout out Rhonda Girard, who is an amazing writer and teacher, who probably hasn't heard of the Midwest Writing Center. I apologize, I've got cat troubles going on over here, but I was really excited to talk today. This isn't going to be like it is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't have any free write planned. Like I said, I was feeling inspired this morning. I've seen the same thing come up over and over again in the writing world in my personal life over the last month or so, and it has been really clicking for me. And so I want to share with everyone what I came up with. So the thing that I keep seeing is to create a ritual around your writing so that you condition yourself, really like Pavlovian. You condition yourself, this is time to write. And what Misty said is that she has a candle that she lights before she starts writing. I don't know if it's scented. I don't know what it looks like. But we know that scents are really, really powerful. And we know that it's really powerful in conditioning us. So that was an interesting idea. I didn't really move forward with it, but I thought, I bought a bunch of candles at the dollar store recently, and I could do that. I could try it. I could make it, as long as I do it, right? It doesn't work if I don't do it. I could try to make it a thing. And so here's my confession, which is that I talk about writing. I engage with writing. My job is in writing. I don't write very often. And I don't know if I lie about that. I do believe that a lot of my actions, because I'm so involved with the literary world, are informing or building or furthering my art. But I haven't written maybe in a month. I'm planning to write and making it a habit. It's been over a year. And it isn't that I need to forgive myself for that, though I do, because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I say things like, if you want to be a writer, you have to write, which just makes me feel guilty. And that doesn't work. We know that. We know that we don't do things when we feel bad about them. But I went to this class yesterday, a workshop with Rhonda Girard. My cats were really good at that time, in which Rhonda Girard talked about different ways to use ritual to create an environment for writing, to have something that fits in your pocket that you can travel with and put out in front of you when it's time to write, or to have a scent, like maybe Misty's candle is scented, or you have a perfume or an essential oil, because we know scents are very, very powerful tools. And so I decided, I decided to follow through with what I learned at that workshop and set aside a time to do it. And the first and third Wednesday of the month, MWC has Writer's Studio. I said that wrong. The first and third Saturday of the month, MWC has Writer's Studio from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time. So I decided 10 to 11 every Saturday. I'm not doing anything. I'm usually awake by then. If for some reason I'm running late, I'll do it after studio. So today is the first Saturday that has happened since yesterday, and I did it. And it was, it wasn't easy. starting a ritual is certainly not the way to experience the power of ritual, right? You have to do it. It has to become a ritual, right? This was just me sitting down with a candle and something that fit in my pocket. um, but I did it. And what ended up coming from that, I'm not going to go into great amount of details about the project I plan to work on or the projects I'm working on. I let myself write what needed to be written today. I knew that was going to be the thing that would be productive. I don't really want to use that word, but I knew I wasn't going to write if I tried to force something. It would just be a miserable experience. And advice that I always give for writer's block is, if the reason you're not writing is because you're stressed, you probably should journal first. And so this was sort of a hybrid between an essay and a journal, maybe a little bit of a manifesto. But I knew I needed to, get my head on straight or work out the little details of what I need from writing and why I write. And I did a video a couple weeks back on why you started writing, and that was really, really helpful to me. There's a window facing a street to my left. That's why I keep looking. There's motion. It was really helpful to me, and that's why I planned that video, was because I wanted to address something that I think stops people from writing, which is that we forget why we write. So, with that in mind, and then the rituals in mind, I sat down with the intention of forgiving myself for being inactive, and I realized it's not my fault. Granted, I decided to sit down this morning. I'm the person who decided to take the class yesterday. But bless Ryan. Ryan always says to anyone who, sheepishly admits that they haven't been writing in a while and they don't want to disappoint him or whoever has expectations for them in their writing. Ryan always says, the writing is still there. That's what he says. The writing is still there. You maybe haven't been showing up for it, but the writing is still there. He doesn't say that other part. He just says the writing is still there. The writing hasn't gone anywhere. The tools and skills that you have learned with your writing haven't gone anywhere. The writing is still there whenever you choose to sit down, whenever you are able to sit down with it and use it and write. But let's say that we are average US citizens, right? And we spend a third of our lives working a job to be productive for someone else, to be materially productive, to keep a roof over our heads. That's why most of us work, to survive. So that's a third of our day is spent working. And if we're really lucky, a third of our day is spent sleeping. And we have to stuff everything else into that other third of the way. And that includes commuting to and from work. That includes cooking and cleaning. That includes running errands, going to the bathroom, taking a shower. Everything else has to fit into that time. And then let's say you can get all of your time and attention. You might have a social life. You might have a monthly video chat with your friends. Is it then any wonder that we have no energy for ourselves if we spend all our time trying to survive and do some bare minimum of self-care? It's reasonable. It is reasonable that we don't prioritize our art in those moments, because there are so few of them. I know there were a couple years of my life that I spent 11 or 12 hours out of the house every day, commuting to and from work and working. And I had, a microwave TV dinner for lunch at work. And I came home and I microwaved a TV dinner and I watched one episode of a sitcom and I went to bed. And that was it. That was all my free time. Woke up in the morning, showered, ate a granola bar, and got on the bus. Even if I hadn't been eating at the same time as watching this television show, somehow if I ate and then had another 22 minutes, I would be too stressed to write. I was too stressed to see my friends. Just things that make you tired also make you stressed. I want to say that for the record because it's true. But we also don't give ourselves credit or freedom, grace. I'm not big on the word grace. I don't feel like I really understand it. We need to give ourselves, we need to understand about ourselves that the things that tire us out give us stress because they they're taking energy from us, right? If they're making us tired. And even if it's good things, even if it's your friends or family, even if you love your job. I love my job. I love my job. Um, and historically, I have usually loved my jobs. Um, but they are jobs, right? They are things that are required of us. There's a Mark Twain quote that work consists of anything a body is obliged to do, play consists of anything a body is not obliged to do. I don't really know that I agree with that, but it is a nice way to classify what work is. um, anyway, uh, we need to forgive ourselves for existing in the circumstances in which we were born. It's not on us that we have to work to survive. What is on us is figuring out how to prioritize art, and that's not easy. The problem is, um, the luck of circumstance. We do have one thing. I told you at the beginning of this video that um I used to say to myself, if you want to be a writer, you have to write. And that's true, but I want to change that meaning a little bit. What I meant then was to guilt myself and gatekeep and say, Sarah, you have to write if you want to call yourself a writer. Which, technically words have definitions, right? But I want to amend that meaning. I want to now on when I say something like that. If to be an artist, you must make art. To be a writer, you must write. What I mean then is if you are an artist, it is part of your constitution, part of a piece of you that requires making art. It is not gatekeeping. It is self-care. It is recognizing and affirming the part of you that is an artist, that is a writer, that requires you engage with your art. I'm not going to tell you how to prioritize that. Part of the workshop I did yesterday with Rhonda Girard, they had us take out our calendar, whatever that means. A lot of people use their phones. I have a paper one, which is not next to me anymore, which is weird. So I thought I put it next to me. I said at the beginning, I don't have my calendar. And look at where the time is. I've said this too in a video last year, maybe it was in 2020, about how to find time to write if you don't have, if you're not independently, doesn't have to be independently, if you're not wealthy, if you don't have time. Those are the two luxuries that that one needs, right? Time or money. They're really the same thing, because we spend our time making money. And I said, search for the pockets of time. If you have 10 minutes in the car line waiting to pick up your kids, could you be writing then? And it's crappy, and it's hard to find pockets of time. 10 minutes isn't much. And that 10 minutes in the car, sure, you could be productive, but like maybe you need to zone out. Maybe it's been a hard day. But that's find yourself needing to create. Find those pockets of time. I don't do anything in the morning. My morning is preparing for work. So choosing that time before Writer's Studio or in place of Writer's Studio, depending on which Saturday it is, was sort of a surprise to myself because normally I spend that time drinking coffee in bed. But I need to write. I need to because I'm a writer. If you're a writer, you must write. Not if you want to be a writer. If you're a writer, you must write because it is an inherent piece of you. That's all I've got for you. It is not your fault you haven't been writing, but it is your responsibility to start. As always, please write more light into your life.